We're going to start this journey back in time on Steubenville Pike leading to the Thornburg Bridge. In the 1800s, when the turnpike was just a dirt road not much wider than one lane, this section was known as the Shades of Death for the armed robbers that would lie in wait for the drovers and farmers coming back from town after selling their wares. The area on the east side of Chartiers Creek was known as Broadhead, named after General Broadhead, who ran Fort Pitt for a time. And any traveler going west towards Steubenville had to cross the creek fording the creek itself before there was a bridge. And that's where we get the Broadhead fording roads in the area. Until it moved to Crafton, the Broadhead post office was just on the other side of the bridge here at the end of Ingram Avenue. And that's when they built the turnpike and people paid the toll. That's where the toll booth was as well after the one at the Obie House. This was the next toll booth on the left. But before this bridge was built in 1927, people used to have to get to the Robinson Township side of Chartiers Creek in an entirely different way. After coming down Steuben Street, they would turn left and cross an entirely different bridge across the creek, and then cross the railroad tracks when they were finally built, back up to where the newest Thornburg Bridge is. Let me show you how that happened. Now remember, Steuben Street and Steubenville Pike at that time was just a dirt road. This was 1919 when it was much improved. So think about what they were riding on and driving their wagons on. But they would come down the dirt road, down Steuben Street, and turn left here. Now remember, this bridge wasn't here. So they would turn left and go down across another bridge. This is actually the third bridge. The first bridge was a covered bridge, and depending on who you believe, it either caught fire when Chartiers Creek caught fire after an oil well leaked up near Noblestown, or it was destroyed in a flood. But this bridge was the second bridge. It was built in 1875. Then they would drive up this little section of road here, dirt road, and then it would go straight up across the tracks here and connect with what is now Cornell, Baldwin, and Steubenville Pike. Connect with that section. Now, this bridge got to be too small. In the 1920s, it couldn't handle the traffic anymore. So they decided in 1926 to build a new bridge. And this next set of pictures will show the progression of the building of the bridge. That was looking downstream. This is a picture of the center line. The bridge went straight across here. And the next picture will show what it looked like if you looked upstream before the bridge was built. This is the center line looking towards Crafton and Ingram. By August and September, much of the structure was in place. and by late December of 1926, it was ready to open for traffic. They spent the spring of 1927 improving the roads that lead to the bridge, but it would be another year and a half until Steubenville Pike was improved all the way out to Moon Run. Baldwin Road coming down the hill needed to be improved as well. Now, here's an interesting historical footnote. The history of Allegheny County is riddled with grandiose ideas that have never come to fruition. Before the Parkway West was built in the late 1950s, routes 22 and 30 used to come through the West End and Crafton before heading out Steubenville Pike. The thought was to build a bypass for all that traffic so it wouldn't come through the local communities. With the new Thornburg Bridge, it was proposed to build a highway through Ingram to just beyond Foster Avenue. Then the traffic would go through a 3/4 of a mile long tunnel that would end near the bottom of Obie Street on Noblestown Road. From there, it would proceed to the traffic circle at the intersection of Banksville Road and Sawmill Run Boulevard. Then it would continue through the proposed tunnel to Liberty Avenue downtown. But while that dream was evolving into the Airport Parkway, the Thornburg Bridge continued to serve its communities well for about 50 years until it finally started to show its age. First, it was just potholes in the road surface, but eventually the substructure was also showing some serious deficiencies. The weight limit on the bridge kept decreasing until finally only cars were allowed, no trucks or buses. Local businesses like Dinda's Pancake House tried to have a little fun with it, but it was no joke. Each year it would get worse until finally the bridge had to be closed and some serious thought given to replacing it. The project of demolishing the old bridge and building a brand new one moved along well because of unusually good weather, but the opening ceremony with Governor Thornburg and his wife was marred by a torrential downpour. But after 40 years of heavy use, the bridge is scheduled to close again in 2022 for a full rehabilitation. Crossing the Thornburg Bridge towards Crafton and Ingram, there's an industrial park on the left that is actually in the city of Pittsburgh. In the area that the old timers still call Horn's Warehouse, but is now owned by Amazon Corporation, was once some emergency housing units built by the city for returning World War II veterans. But between Chartiers Creek and those warehouses is now a 4-lane highway known as the Highway to Nowhere. It all began in the 1960s when the city wanted the Strip District produce people to move to the Chartiers Valley Industrial Park. Pennsylvania Railroad and the city wanted to tear down the buildings in the Strip District to build businesses and apartments that would become a new gateway center at that end of town. As part of that project, a new expressway would be built from the Thornburg Bridge to Carson Street in McKees Rocks. This would allow the big trucks to bypass the neighborhoods of Crafton, Ingram, Elliott, and Sheridan. There was even talk of extending it to I-79 on the Thornburg Bridge side and across the river from McKees Rocks to Route 65. When plans for the proposed move from the Strip District finally fell through, only a small portion of the highway had been built. Though in recent years, as the industrial park has grown with grocers and UPS and other retail distributors who are able to use the road, the just over a quarter-mile then concrete expressway was little used in its early years. But beginning in the 1970s, some of the locals found a way to use it, as we will soon see.
The new paper just came out right at 10:57. Yeah, baby.
Don't run. Just walk. Just walk. Don't run.
Don't run.